Hello everybody, how are you? Now, this afternoon we will review these two cameras that were released by Nikon. This one is the Nikon EL and this one is the Nikon FT. But before we do that, I would like to tell you something that yesterday we went to Subic and I used this Nikon F4, and this is really something that I'd like to tell you that's one of the best cameras I've ever used since I returned to the analog photography. With this autofocusing and of course some of those features that are really different compared to the Nikon F, Nikon F2, and Nikon F3. Although these cameras are legendary in their own rights, but this one is something that I really love to use. And also used this one yesterday, the Nikon F2, another one that classic, but yet you feel like you're always looking forward in using it because the features and everything, they are all wonderful. But we will not review these two cameras this afternoon. Instead, we will focus more on this Nikomat that we have here, the EL, and of course this other Nikomat FT. And we will now determine as to which of these two cameras is better for us to use, because this is usually released by Nikon, primarily targeting the prosumers, call it in those times, no? Because the Nikon F2 and the one prior to this, Nikon F, and the one after this one is the Nikon F3. These cameras were all marketing the professional photographers, but these two cameras are really intended for those hobbyists and all those photographers in between. Okay, we will now proceed to our discussion, and then we will try to compare the collection features on both of these cameras. Now, as we all know that both of these cameras are quite inexpensive during those times. These cameras were originally released in 1965 until 1978. Primarily because during those times, there were so many cameras available in the market. But of course, Nikon had this Nikon F, and then followed by Nikon F2 and Nikon F3. But during those times, these cameras were all too expensive, and the target of those cameras were the professional photographers. Now, in between, there must be a camera that should be used by the prosumers or the people who are not really professional photographers, but more of a hobbyist or those photographers in between. Nikon made two basic models. One is a mechanical body, which is this Nikomat FT, and the other one is a electronic body. This is Nikomat EL. They produced 8 models before these products or these cameras ceased production. The mechanical Nikomat were the FS, and we have here the FT, and there's another one, the FTN, and the FT2, and the FT3. Now, the electronic shutter version, which is famous now for this Nikomat EL, we have here the following models are EL, we have here the ELW, another one is the EL2, okay? And in fact, as we all know that EL was Nikon's first electronic shutter camera. Go back to the iterations of this Nikomat FT. Now, this is for the mechanical shutter, no? This maximum of speed of 1:1000, okay? And the X-Sync is 1:125. Now, if we will look back, the FS, the other model, the FS, has no metering capability. Now, the FT with this has the TTL average metering and set minimum aperture by hand, okay? And the other one is the FTN, which has the TTL with center-weighted metering, no minimum aperture. It's quite basically advanced during that time when they had those center-weighted metering. In the FT2, it has a hot accessory shoe right here, not this one, okay? The FT3, the AI lenses set minimum aperture by automatic indexing, okay? Now, what about the electronic Nikomats, no? This one, the EL, no? This one have an electronic shutter, okay? And these models have aperture priority auto exposure right here. It's visible right here, okay? And that is called the AE, automatic exposure. Now, all EL series have a hot shoe right here. We will now check first this model, this Nikomat FT. Now, camera first, you have here the winder on top, okay? You have here the sync port for your flash. This is the X for the flash. Now, there is now this metering that is placed right here. So you have to turn on the metering by simply turning this cocking lever, pulling this out, okay? Once you see that red dot, it's now turned on. All you have to do is to find that needle, that white needle, and place it in the middle of this circle by simply getting the correct speed right here, the shutter speed, and of course the aperture. Shutter selector of this camera is not located here on top of the camera, but just located here in the base of the lens, where the lens is attached. No, if you can see the speed, the shutter speed is right there. That's the 100 per second, 500, and so on and so forth. You have to simply move this one. It's either move it clockwise or counterclockwise. No? Okay, now the aperture is just basically right here. Now, the one thing is good about this camera is that you can use all those F-mount lenses that are also used with the F model, Nikon F, the Nikon F2, and as just simply press this one. This is now the button for you to remove the lens. All you have to do is to turn this clockwise, and of course the lens can be removed. And on this position, you can see now there is a pin right here that has to be attached in this bunny ear, okay, right there, for you to have a correct metering of the camera. Just simply align these bunny ears to the 5.6 right there. It's already aligned right there. That's the marker, and just place it there. Once it is in position, turn it counterclockwise, and then once you hear the click, it means that the lens is already attached to the body. Now, this is the mirror lock up. Now just push this down. We'll just remove this for a while. We'll just push this down, of course, and then the mirror will lock up. Okay, right there. And then if you want to return the mirror to this form position, all you have to do is to simply push this upward. And of course, you have here the counter as to how many exposures you have made. Of course, this is the shutter release, and this is the depth of field preview. Now this is the self timer, okay, and just simply turn this counterclockwise, and then advance the winding lever, and then press the shutter release. And then the timer is now set to about 10 seconds for you to go out and just stand there, and then picture will be taken just like that. Okay, there is a pin right here for you to remove the film once you have already exposed all of those 36 shots. But before you do that, you have to wind this up, okay, by pressing this one, okay, and then you can now wind the film. You can now pull these slats right here on the side, in the bottom portion of the side of the camera, and then the back door will open, okay, for you to get now the film. One thing that you will find quite not easy for you to adjust in this Nikon FT is the place where you can select your ASA or ISO. It is right here in the bottom portion where the base of the lens is located. It's basically right there where the shutter selector is situated. No? That is the ASA or ISO as we know it today. So just simply push it, and then you can now adjust your ISO. This camera is heavy, and this is tough, sturdy, and this is a bit heavier compared to this EL. So after we have discussed this Nikomat FT, we will now go to this Nikomat EL. This Nikomat is the first camera that was released by Nikon with this electronic shutter. Okay. With respect to the adjustment of the ISO or ASA of this Nikomat EL, all you have to do is to go to the upper portion of the camera where the winder is situated, and then you can see there the ISO right there. So for you to adjust that ISO or ASA, just simply push this latch on the right portion, and then you can now rotate this outer index for you to, you can see that red dot is moving, no? Left or right. You can set it to 400 or 200 as the case may be, depending on the ISO of your film. Now this one is the winder, of course, basic for all of the cameras during those time. Now for you to remove the film inside, of course, you have to press this one. Okay, and there is a latch located here, it's right there, so you have to push this down, and then just pull the center portion of the winder, and then the door will open for you to remove your film. Okay, but all you have to do is to simply press this button right here on the bottom, in the right portion. Okay, and then just turn the lens clockwise, and then you can remove the lens. Now, just like in the Nikomat FT, this Nikomat EL uses the lenses that are available for Nikon F and Nikon F2. You have to align this bunny ear to the 5.6, also the marker right there, for you to attach the lens to the camera. Just align this pin in the middle. Okay, you just simply turn it counterclockwise, and once you hear the clicking sound, and then it means that the lens is already fixed and locked into the body of the camera. So this one will now use for the metering, and for you to have an accurate reading of the metering. And then there is a marker right here to determine to whether your lens match the metering of the Nikomat EL. Chances are you may not be able to get the correct exposure of your film, and therefore your film may either be overexposed or underexposed, as the case may be. For you to turn on this camera, just simply pull this, and then you will see that that right there. It means that the camera is turned on. And there is a battery that somehow will power this camera. Now, I will show you where the battery is located. There is a need on your part to remove the lens first, and then you have to engage the mirror lock up, this one. The battery of this camera is located right there. So just simply pull this latch to the left, and then it will open. Okay, that's the battery. Okay, the battery should have been placed there because it's a bit delicate for you to mess up around in this portion where the shutter is located, and of course the mirror. You might end up messing and damaging all those mechanical thing inside. You have to be very careful not to damage all of those internal moving parts. If the camera is set on the aperture priority, once you have achieved the correct metering, and then the camera will choose the correct speed that will match your 2.8 opening of your aperture. Okay, you have to press this tiny button in the middle for you to go to another speed. Okay, this Nikomat EL, the depth of field preview is located here. Okay, just simply press this, and then you can see the aperture is closing. Okay, the self timer is also located right here in the right portion, and just simply turn this counterclockwise, and then advance your cocking lever, and then just press the shutter release, and then you have approximately 10 seconds for you to stand in front of the camera, and the picture will be taken. Okay, as far as the metering is concerned, they have the different design. There is now this metering on the right portion. It's either plus sign or the minus sign, and then the needle must be in the middle of the plus sign and the negative sign for you to have a correct exposure of your film. And of course, that is in conjunction with the speed that is displayed right there, the speed you have selected. Unlike this one, it's a different design altogether because the reading of the metering is located in the left portion. You can see there the speed lined up on the left side, and of course there a green marker that indicates what speed you have selected, and there is another needle that will move down and up stating that is your aperture, no? So therefore, if you're on a manual mode, the green needle and of course the other needle must be aligned with each other for you to get the correct exposure. Now if you are set to the aperture priority mode, the green needle will just stay on top, and then the other needle will just move. It's either going down or going up, and for you to determine whether your exposure is correct. That's it. I think we have already covered the correction feature of both of these cameras. Now, it's a matter of choice for you to determine as to whether you will use this Nikomat FT or this Nikomat EL. Now, if you want to have a basic camera, there is no need for you to place battery, except of course for the metering, no? Right here. And you want to use a manual camera, this one is for you. Even if there is no battery for the meter, you can still use this. Unlike this one, since there is a battery that is needed for this to use, therefore you have to have battery for it to function properly. Otherwise, it won't be used accordingly. So, although this one is a bit easier for you to use because of the aperture priority, but at the end of the day, I can only recommend that both of these cameras are wonderful cameras, even if they are reasonably priced. Even up to now, these cameras are very cheap. If you will handle this camera properly with sufficient care and everything, and then this will last for a long period of time. If you have some questions and comments, you can feel free to make the comment below. And I would appreciate it if you will like this video and subscribe to the channel. And whenever I miss something, feel free to make the necessary comment and ask some questions, and I will gladly answer those questions, of course, within the limit of my knowledge as far as these cameras are concerned. And I think we have covered everything, and thank you very much, and have a great day.